Hey guys, what's up? It's Lizzy Jane, and we are back with another episode of the podcast. Life is absolutely wild, but I appreciate every single one of you guys coming back week after week to listen to these episodes. I have one of my favorite people returning today. She goes by the name of Maddy O'Neal. She has absolutely been killing it. We did a podcast that was in February of this year. And to see how incredibly busy she was then versus the level of busy and booked she is now is absolutely incredible. And the new music she's been putting out has been so widespread and yet so honed in on her sound. And I'm just so happy it worked out that her and I could hop back into the podcast chat again. And we touch base on a little bit of everything from her creative process to her recent shows and upcoming shows with Pretty Lights and touring and her own headline tour and her EP that just came out. Yeah, she's such an inspiration, and let's just hop into it. My name's Lizzy Jane, and you're tuning in to the Lizzy Jane podcast with special guest Maddy O'Neal. Hey guys, so lately I've seen a ton of larger shows I've been playing at that a lot of these festivals and venues are no longer allowing bags that are not clear. Well, guess what? Lunchbox Packs is coming in clutch again. They have just stepped up their anti-theft bags by releasing a fully clear hydration pack and snack pack. This is an absolute game changer for your summer festivals and events. Each bag is made out of TPU material that is incredibly durable, flexible, and made to not alter under extreme sun exposure over time. You also have the option to bring a skin in your bag on the way in, and once you're through that security line, you can zip on your skin for privacy of your belongings and to add some extra personalized fun flair. These hydration packs meet the majority of all festival regulations and guidelines. As always, these packs have all of the awesome anti-theft features as the original hydration and snack packs. Make sure you use code LizzyJane for $10 off any hydration pack and code LizzyJ for $5 off any snack pack. I will see you at the rave. The show today was brought to you by Vitaplur E-Boost Gum. With no pill to take or powders to mix, Vitaplur E-Boost Gum is a first-of-its-kind energy rave supplement that provides magnesium, electrolytes, and antioxidants while you chew. Vitaplur is the perfect complement to my active lifestyle, whether it's at the festival, on the road touring, or hitting the gym. Chew Vitaplur and dance with confidence. Use code LizzyJane for 10% off any order.
Maddy, thanks for joining me again today.
Yeah, it's good to be back. Round two.
Absolutely. You have been quite literally, it feels like, around the world and back.
Yeah. A little tired today, but
a little tired. I feel like not when you come up in conversation, but whenever I start talking about you, I always talk about when we did in our last podcast, you said when I was talking to my new prospective agent, they pretty much just asked me, are you ready to run if we say go?
Oh,
and
yeah.
And it was before, it was February. Yeah, February of this year.
Yeah.
And, you had played shows all over and you'd done the festival circuit and you'd done all that. But I've never seen you play shows like you played this year.
Yeah. It's been crazy. It was I'm still trying to process what just happened over the last couple months because usually there's some sort of gap between festival season into fall tour.
Yes.
But the gap that I had this year, I actually did Burning Man for the first time.
Oh,
so
I know.
It was
yes.
the one time that I could be I could catch my breath or I could go play 5 sets at Burning Man.
Yeah.
So
once in a lifetime opportunity though.
Yeah,
and experience.
Yeah.
I was just talking to Becca Vale about Burning Man because she's done it so many times.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
She said that she's been doing Burning Man since 2011.
Oh, wow.
So she's done it 3 or 4 times since 2011 and has intentions to go back next year.
Nice.
So I guess my question to you as a new burner, what were your takeaways? A million things.
First of all, it was like one of the coolest experiences I've ever had. It really just kind of like cracked me wide open because the music industry can definitely be like cliquey, and you can get stuck in your own little worlds, and like, your perspective can get smaller.
Yes.
And I think that going there, I was just like, I felt like I was at the center of the electronic music culture. Like every single person that I met there, like did something cool, like did something in creative or musically that just like blew my mind. And I was just like, what? Like that exists? Or like, how did I not know that that was a thing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was just like every person that I talked to was just like, what the fuck? So yeah, I played 5 sets, which was also incredible.
Oh my God.
I was only there for 4 days.
Well, I know. And you left, didn't you say you left early?
I left.
Because you knew that shit was about to happen and then you had to go to North Coast.
Well, I didn't know shit was going to happen.
Oh, okay.
I just had a festival. So I got out just in time.
You did.
I left like Thursday night, and then I went home for a day. Then I went to North Coast, and then I went to Alaska. It was just like the last 2 months of my life have just been insane.
It's like just
So,
but you're making the most out of every day.
yeah.
You know?
No, I mean, I'm like, when I left Burning Man, I was like, have not felt this inspired in like
really?
a really, really long time.
Oh.
I just like was just cheesing. Like I just had this like glow, and it was definitely challenging for me to do 5 sets. And like I catered to like the camps that I played at.
Yeah.
It was like the Camp Question Mark was like the base camp. So like I went like a little heavier than I normally do. And there was like 3 house sets, and then I did 1 set on Ableton, like resurrected an old computer. And I was like, if this goes, if it gets ruined, it's okay. So it was a good challenge, and just like the people and the atmosphere was just very eye-opening, I think.
I've heard it takes a lot out of you, but it's also extremely rewarding.
Yeah.
And you kind of realize, did you go completely like with a crew that was very knowledgeable, or did you go with a crew where it was like, we're stepping into this with, we don't know what's going to happen?
No. So like the reason why I haven't gone before was this person, my buddy Tucker, who goes by the festival guy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's like a
Hilarious.
Burning Man, like
the
guru,
like, know it all. Yeah. Guru. That was the word I was looking for.
So he actually just started his own camp last year, and then he merged with another camp this year, and finally had all of the inner. I was like, Tucker, I don't want to be a diva, but I need these things if I'm gonna come. And he was like, went totally out of his way to make me comfortable, and like he knew I could only be there for a short amount of time, so he's like, I can bring all these things for you from Vegas to like make it less of a hassle.
Survive.
Yeah, he was basically like, I'm gonna set this up so you can't say no. And I was like, okay.
That sounds great. Yeah. I've heard so many people go out there and they're just not correctly prepared, and then it can become a very difficult experience. Yeah.
I'm glad that I was thorough in like what my situation was, especially hearing about everything else. But
yeah. And like Camp Question Mark, my friends have a foothold in that camp, and if I were to ever do it, like you obviously like have to do the application thing or whatever. But it's what you kind of explained what your friend did to you. You pay like $700 or $800. They have your water, they have your ice, they have basic necessities. That's what
brought my bike, brought my food.
Yeah, they bring your bike, they bring your glasses, they bring all of that.
And this isn't Sparkle Pony shit.
No.
Either.
No.
It's just being smart.
Yes. I know. Some people are like, oh, they want it's like glamping and I don't think any aspect of Burning Man is glamping.
No. People call like the Sparkle Ponies like people that come in for the weekend on the private jets.
Yes.
And then they stay for like 2 days and then they leave. And I'm like, that's not what I was asking for.
Yeah.
Just wanted comfort.
Yeah. I just want to like go there and not like be afraid that I'm gonna die.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you're so out there. Did you, I guess like during was each set just kind of like a different vibe where like I know they have certain nights where all the stages are like going off and slammed, and then there's other ones that are like traveling throughout like the playa, and there's really not that many people, or there's bikes riding next to you, and like it's not like a crowd type of ordeal.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much happening all at once. like
it's
at,
just a
at
lot.
all times of the day.
And
Like
then
you
you
could
went
just stumble
with
upon the craziest thing and
Jamie
be like,
Sloan, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
I was so happy she decided to send it like last minute. I was like,
Oh.
thank you.
So exciting. And I feel like you have to have like a little bit of a crew family base
Yeah,
there.
she was like
hey,
my
we're in
my
this.
PIC for a little bit.
Yeah. Oh my god. So exciting though.
But-
and what an experience again, what you said, like that just inspires you creatively and
Yeah, and like I've been doing a lot of house sets. I'm doing like the madhouse thing, and like I'm having so much fun doing that. And I'm glad that I've found outlets to be able to do DJ sets like that too, because I don't feel as like boxed in. So I did like a disco house set. I did 2 tech house sets, and then I did like a heavy DJ set at Camp Question Mark, and then like my regular kind
Maddy
of
O'Neal.
mostly original Ableton thing. So I
Wow.
kind of like covered all the bases.
That's
like
so
sprinkled a
crazy.
little bit. Yeah.
It's just a wild takeaway, but I feel like it's something that everybody, or at least what I've been told, everybody should try and experience it at least once.
Yes. Well, that was always my mentality. I was like, I have to do it.
Yep.
At least once.
Yeah.
But now I'm like, I might block off my schedule every year.
Yep. Oh, that's so
if
exciting.
I can. Yeah.
That's so exciting. And in between, that huge like event, I just feel like there's very few times that I see like nationally touring acts come away from something and then the whole feed is burning in. You've got everybody posting these long sentimental captions of like how their life has been affected and changed.
And if you don't go, you're like, oh, another post.
Yeah.
But now I get it. I'm like part of the cult.
Yeah, you get it. You go. And I felt like that was me after I saw, not the original OG Grateful Deads, but I went and I saw Dead & Co. when they were here on July 6th. Or it was like July 4th weekend. And I was like, yeah, like I fucking get it. Like this is really, really awesome.
Yeah.
And
You
cool.
see like the power of a community.
Oh my God.
I mean, that's like a good reference point. It's like when you see the power of a community like that and you feel it, that was honestly the most inspiring part. Was just like, I'd never felt anything like that.
And speaking of community, when we talked last, Pretty Lights had not announced his return, and now you're doing. Did you just do an after party? Or are you doing Chicago, or did you do New York?
I just did Brooklyn.
Okay.
Like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And
I know your whole crew is very close with these individuals.
Yeah.
I mean, did you know he was coming back? Was it something that like you were just like, holy shit, like let's go, and now you were able to play with probably one of your main inspirations kind of deal?
Yeah. I had a little insight.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they were like very, even though we had the same manager and like the entire band is like some of my closest friends.
Yeah.
I didn't ask them what it was gonna look like because I kind of wanted to be surprised, and I knew they were figuring it out along the way too. But it's been really, really incredible to see the way that they came back. Like I'm like completely blown away. I'm like, you guys didn't even need to come back that hard. Like people are gonna be stoked no matter what.
Yeah.
But they like really took it to the next level. And I did Brooklyn. I'm doing Chicago after parties in a couple weeks, and then I'm also doing San Francisco with them too in the caverns.
So fun.
Yeah. So it feels like it's like I missed like back to the community thing when he used to do like the episodic festivals, like just like weekend long things. I missed that, like whether I was doing it with Derek or I just did Grizz's Ursa Major. Like I like that atmosphere, like when people go somewhere and get settled for a weekend and then like people really become family and
artists,
and it's
curated.
like yeah. So it was cool to have that vibe back because I hadn't really done that with another crew before.
Such a different vibe than like an Insomniacs or like commercially driven. I think
which I haven't done a lot of either. But
how was Grizz's Ursa Major? Was it lovely?
Amazing.
Was it super fun?
Like so
it looked like camp.
It was like it was a mix of like his Coolabunga or so I've heard because I haven't been.
Yeah.
It was like a mix of like summer camp Coolabunga vibes with a festival, but everything was like so thought out, and like every little detail you could tell, like he put a lot of thought into everything.
Yeah.
And I know it was extra special because he's like, you know, now he's on a hiatus.
Hiatus kind of deal.
He's taking a little grant time.
I mean,
but
well deserved.
Yeah.
You know, I think that it's very easy and I don't know. I feel like your accumulation, like we talked last time, you know, you've built these very kind of sturdy bricks to build your house of Maddy O'Neal and what that project entails, and the different lines that you can cross over, and that you can play in a band, but you can also do your soul stuff, or you can also do a Madhouse set.
Right.
And all of that just comes with like years of building on that certain concept and building it up.
Yeah.
But you know, you kind of had said you'd always have had breaks. You've had maybe like you know, a 2-month run, and then you have a month off, or maybe you just have a one-off show and it's like you actually get to be home.
Right.
But now you are all gas, no breaks. And I think that Grant was in that position for a really long time.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like when that is happening to that extent and that level of busyness, it's really difficult to be present in other areas of what a normal person's life kind of looks like.
Yeah. Totally. And that's important. Like, I think we talked about last time I was here, just like the lessons that I've learned over my career of touring, and like realizing when I was doing too much or doing too much partying and like not feeling like I was balanced. You know, coming home like completely depleted from the road, not having any energy for like my home life or to build my home life. But like I got home at midnight last night and mowed the lawn today. Did like normal people stuff, like upkeep in my life, and like it felt good. It felt like I was like, you know, I had like some sort of balance.
You still have to live your life, you know,
Right.
like you can't like, it's kind of saying, you know, you still have to like do your taxes and go to the grocery store and get your dog food. You can't not do those things. So to add like another level of intensified touring on top of all the things that you just have to do as a human being.
Yeah.
It's a
Just
lot
like
of juggling.
life shit.
Yeah. And then it doesn't really leave a lot of time to sleep and revamp
or make music.
I mean, that's a
So-
whole other deal of where it's like, I get the Tiestos and the Hardwells of the world. I understand why they have a team of 1 million, because they're
Right.
literally playing like 300 shows a year nonstop. Like, how can you take a step back and go, time for me to create?
Yeah.
You can't.
And that was where I was at before the pandemic happened. Was I had like zero time to make music. And I felt like when I was on the road, I was just like going through the motions, and I was like so sick of everything that I was playing, and there was no like
New shit
I wasn't
to be
like
excited
feeding
about.
my creative self along the way. It was just like completely separate things. So I'm really trying to like pay attention to those things. I think I'm going to take January off to like finish all of these drafts that I have sitting around, but also just like getting better about utilizing my time. You know, like I was working on music at the airport yesterday, just sitting there for a couple hours, like finding those blocks of time, because if I'm not creating and I'm just touring, I feel a little crazy.
Yeah.
Like that's where it all started. It's like, that's where the general inspiration is coming from, is like creating things and then getting to show them to people. You know, you can't have one or the other.
That's the excitement of like showing people a new song. But then when you
Right.
go, okay, I've been playing the same songs for the last 2 months, 3 months, and there's nothing really new to even tease or slap a mastering rack on and just go out there and see how it sounds.
Yeah.
It definitely feels like, okay, I'm being a DJ. Okay, I'm being a DJ. Like, where's like,
which is
me
fun
in it?
too.
Yes. Very, very
But
fun. I feel like just because your live elements and the way it's all been very cohesive, and the fact that, you know, your average Maddy O'Neal set is very much so your original content.
yeah.
You know, it's kind of that thing that keeps the train moving, is bringing new content to the table.
Yeah. And you can tell if I'm like excited. I mean, I feel like I'm usually excited to be on stage, but
Yes.
you know, like that extra, like, oh, I just finished this one. Like, here we go.
Mhm.
Like trying to keep the balance of having those moments.
Having those moments, and like, yeah, the stage energy is always contagious. I feel like you can always tell when somebody's in it or when they're like trying to be in it.
Yeah,
and it's
just like,
not
here's
hitting.
another show.
Yes. And right now, have you started the Mind Over Matter tour? Officially
I
underway?
have.
Okay.
It was kind of like the beginning was like trickled fall festivals, and then there was like a couple of headline dates in the mix. Like I just did Nevada City 2 weekends. Oh yeah, I did Nevada City, and then same but different festival, and then I flew all the way to New York to do the Brooklyn Pretty Lights after party. So there's been like staggered dates, but right now is kind of the beginning of like the bulk of it.
Yeah.
So this weekend I'll be in Columbia, Indianapolis, and Louisville,
Kentucky.
Yeah.
Oh, we love a good Kentucky.
I always want to
play.
say Louisville, and everyone's like, "What is Louisville?"
What is that? Well, that's fun hitting the Midwest.
Yeah.
Midwest always has good crowds.
Yeah,
I feel like especially for bass music, they have good crowds.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
And you're like on a full headline run, and coming off of the Mind Over Matter EP, I would love to know a little bit about kind of what went behind it. Woofer is one of the singles, right?
Yeah.
That goes so hard. I heard it and I was like, is this Maddy O'Neal?
I know.
I was like,
I'm just getting like sneakily heavier.
Yeah. But it's still a balance. And I think that's why the heavy elements hit so much harder. And it's not because of like your other discography. It's just because you make this jammy, flowy bass music that's very danceable. And then when you have that type of sound just come out of nowhere, I'm just like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, yo, that's crazy.
I mean, I think my whole thing is like the contrast between like the heavy elements and then like the beautiful, pretty melodic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it definitely hits harder for me when you can play off of the
duality.
two. Yeah. So it's not just like smack you in the face for an hour.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta give people a little breather.
Yeah, you have to give people a little breather, and it also just lets your dynamics grow.
Yeah, like I want to keep the emotional, melodic, like storytelling aspects, but I'm definitely loving throwing a little bit of extra butt on it.
Yes, definitely, and it's just like those types of sounds just hit so cleanly on systems, especially if there's not a million other bass sounds layered
for
on
sure,
top of it.
yeah.
And because Maddy O'Neal, you've got the pretty bass sound kind of groove that is still bass music, but it's definitely like falling in that subgenre where we had talked about when you played Lost Lands last year, where it was just kind of like, ooh, are they gonna like what I play? Are they gonna
I felt a little bit out of place, but
and
it was good. People were refreshed by it,
and that's exactly what I just think people are again reiterating this 8 months later, 9 months later. They're still ready for it. I think people are being extremely receptive to a new wave of artists that are reaching this level where they're touring every weekend and they're getting in front of all of these new different crowds. And then you're being really packaged on all of these different stages where your sound is very uniquely to, yourself. And I guess when was the Mind Over Matter EP done in time to play for festival season where you were teasing those songs and everything?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was kind of like the concept behind it was that, my last record, Ricochet, was I covered a lot of bases, and a lot of the songs were like listening songs that I might not ever play live. Like I have some remixes of them that I play, but like the originals aren't made for a live setting. I just was like throwing it all out there.
Making music.
Yeah. Just like from the soul. But I was thinking about the year that I was about to have and all the stages that I was about to play. And I wanted to make something that was more geared towards a dance floor. So
the live space.
Yeah.
The heavy hit space.
Yeah. So like, I think all 4 of the songs on the EP were definitely made with like visualizing myself on a festival stage playing them, so.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, gosh, you had Bonnaroo, you had like, what were your favorite festivals, I would say if you had to reflect, take away, and I guess come in a certain aspect where you would say in a heartbeat, I would go back to this, and this.
Bonnaroo was definitely like maybe number one for the summer.
Had you ever been to Bonnaroo?
I hadn't, no,
Okay.
but I've heard such amazing things about it.
Yeah.
That was number one. Coachella was pretty fucking cool too. Like I always had this like image of Coachella before I played it.
Mm-hmm. You did the Do Lab, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just like the internet makes it seem like it's like influencers everywhere.
Yes.
And it's actually like not like that. It's like very
That's
chill.
good to know.
Yeah.
Because in my mind, I'm like, I just hear stories, and I'm sure it's just there's so many people there.
Yeah.
That you really have to look and pay attention if you want to see the things that I think is really glorified on the internet, like the influencer buses and the this and the that.
Like I didn't.
Where there's a lot of normal fucking people, and there's a lot of people who work in the industry, and it's like, you know, everybody's kind of there if they're on the West Coast, and I always look at the Do Lab lineups as like such an eclectic body of talent.
Yeah.
Where it's not just one genre. You get all of these different acts that are just like killing it in their own craft and like lane.
Yeah, and Do Lab does a good job of like being tastemakers, you know, with between that and Lightning in a Bottle. And it's just cool to be an underground artist on a festival like that. That's like so insane. Mm-hmm. Like just like superstar production artists, celebrities, and just like knowing that like you have a place still.
Super,
you know what I mean?
Super exciting.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people, especially when they start, they don't ever think Coachella, you know?
Right.
I'm sure that was not in the forefront of your mind.
No,
when
it wasn't.
Creating the Maddy O'Neal project and the music and all of that stuff. And I mean, I just feel like it's like a testament to like how electronic music has grown. Like it does have its space in the big, you know, version of the entertainment industry where you've got the pop stars and the hip hop guys and the rappers and the big bands. And Coachella's always been one of those places where it's like, yeah, if you want to go see Justin Bieber, you can go see Justin Bieber.
Yeah.
But you can also see your favorite metal band, and you can also go see your favorite
I saw the Gorillas.
Yep. So
like
legacy acts that you will never see anywhere else. Yeah.
And then there's like the Do Lab stage, and they're like, check out all of these new artists that like maybe none of these kids are, you know, had ever heard of before. Mm-hmm. So it's like, it's cool that like the Do Lab is giving artists a platform in spaces like that, you know?
Yes.
So
absolutely. And
other than almost missing my set.
Oh, tell me the story. Because isn't it quite an effort to get out there? And I'm sure it's like so much traffic too.
Yeah.
Like I can't imagine.
Yeah.
Flight delay, almost missed.
Well, I played Boulder the night before. It was like 420.
Okay. Fox Theater.
That was booked, way before I booked Coachella.
Yeah.
And so I had to fly in the morning of, which is always terrifying, for like a 5:00 set.
Yeah. I'd be taking like 4:30.
Yeah. Well, there for sure.
Yeah.
So there was like so much traffic, and I just had no concept of how intense it was going to be to even get inside the grounds. Even as an artist, it was just like,
really?
Do I need to drop in? Like, I don't know.
You give you a parachute, like let me kind of do the stage, and I'll just kind of like go.
Yeah, I was like freaking out in the car. My tour manager's like, chill out. It's either gonna happen or it's not. And I was like, well, it's gonna happen.
Yeah,
don't say that. Don't say that.
Fast. Was it just like
I got there
10
minutes before I was supposed to?
Or what was like? Just the amount of people.
There was a bunch of traffic. I flew into Santa Ana and drove down.
Hour
that took like 4 hours when it was supposed to take 2.
Yeah.
And then we had to get our credentials, get back in the car, and then drive to a different location to get in. And there was just, it was like no cars were moving. It was just like bumper to bumper traffic.
Get out and start
all
running.
Surrounding the festival. And I was like, are we just going to sit here forever? Or should I like start walking? Like, but I rolled up literally 10 minutes before I was supposed to go on stage.
Yeah.
I would definitely rip a tequila shot, and I was like, I made it. I'm like dripping sweat.
Yeah.
I'm wearing leather shorts and like
I would be yelling at everyone in the car. I'd be like, guys, we gotta go. Yeah. We gotta move.
I definitely had like my diva moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially because it's not like it's like any other festival. It's like fucking Coachella. And then again, if you know, it had been, and I know Doolab does those bookings so last second.
Yeah, it was like
sometimes.
3 weeks before.
Yeah, and
I think, or a
that's
month.
just not touring culture. Like you usually know what you're playing, usually months in advance.
Right.
And
I probably wouldn't have booked anything the day before.
you would have gone like multiple days
Yeah.
before and been settled and da-da-da-da. And yeah, it's just, but that's how it happens. You
We made
seize
it.
the moment. You know, take advantage of the opportunity, and then I don't know. There's such space to grow at that festival too. And because it's kind of like you have the Doolab, but then you also have EDM acts on those massive fucking stages. You know, I watched the Chromeo live stream. I watched quite a few acts that I just don't feel like you see on regular festival circuits. Maybe a Bonnaroo, maybe a Halloween.
Like crossover acts.
Yeah, and that's it. And it was super, super dope. Are you doing Halloween this year?
I'm not. I'm taking the year off. Okay. But that's one of my favorite festivals.
I know. I was thinking about it in my head. I'm like, I know you've done it before. So Vale said this was, I think, her first Halloween. I don't know if it was her first, but yeah, she said it was her first. And it's just, it seems like such a good, Swanee's just wonderful.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I wish I could do it every year, but they're like,
it's like the Halloween festival. Do you have a Halloween run?
I'm actually going to be in Montana for Halloween. Doing like Bozeman and
cool.
Something else.
Something else. Love it. Well, at least it's close. Yeah. Right? It's like probably an hour drive or whatever. I've heard Montana has great snowboarding too.
Yeah. Ooh, maybe I'll, if it's like time.
It may be.
Yeah. Dude, I always forget when it's like snowboard time.
Tomorrow, the high is like 50.
Oh, really?
It's dropping tomorrow. So I'm curious how long
it could happen any day now.
When we started, it was like 2 weeks ago, and I started to see like the wind shift, and then I got my hair done, and my hairdresser was like, I saw this wind shift, and then you start to see, you know, the outer mountain ranges getting a little flurries and stuff. It's coming. She's like, it's going to be here. It's going to be here.
That's exciting.
You have to go more than 2 times this season. I know it's hard though.
I know. So I mean, I do the Colorado Mountain Tour every fall or every winter.
What is that?
So just like hit all of
hit all of them.
Yeah, like Vail, Steamboat, Winter Park, Durango. Oh my God. I do literally like every city in the mountains.
Do you like take a week and then you just do it?
No, it's like weekends.
Okay.
Yeah. But I'm gonna try and build in some days.
Yeah.
Because that's the one thing I have not ever accomplished was like successfully doing a mountain run while building in like an extra day to snowboard. Yeah. But I'm like, I'm all the way out in Durango or Aspen.
You're close.
Yeah. So
and you do those mountain like cities all the time. Like you've done Vail, right? You've done Breck. You've done Aspen like a good amount of times. I feel like they love you up there.
Yeah. I mean, I've been here for a long time. So like I was doing those towns with my old project even. So it's kind of like, it feels like you just get like doctored in or something. And then like they just expect you to come back every year.
It's like in rotation.
Yeah. Like that's the time where I feel like a real Colorado local, even though I'm not technically, but I've been here for like 15 years.
I would say it's justifiable to say.
Yeah.
Considering how many of us are transplants within the last like 700 days.
Yeah.
Like totally. I would definitely say you qualify
700 days
to be in that local bracket.
Yeah.
And it's fun. Like, gosh, that's a dream. Go up there, play a show, hit the mountains. Like, what a day. Like, super,
and a lot of the venues will give you like a discount on lift ticket and stuff too. So
that's fun.
Yeah.
Maybe in the future, no Epic Pass.
Yeah.
Get the lifty hookup.
Totally.
The buddy hookup. Hey,
just build in all those days.
Let me know. Like, I'll just hop on. You know, it'll be great.
Yeah.
Have you felt like you've needed to adjust your like mental wellness schedule with balancing everything? Has it been an adjustment, or were you like, okay, I was ready, and like now it's just like maintaining and making sure I'm like eating good, sleeping good.
Yeah.
That's it.
I mean, it's always it's a constant like check in on yourself.
Yeah.
Mentality.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some weeks I'll come home and I'll just be like, oh, I'm so inspired, like I have so much energy. And then some travel days will just like wreck you and you have to like build yourself back up again.
Mm-hmm.
So Yeah. Yoga is my best friend.
Love it.
And yeah, I feel pretty good right now. I'm going like way better than I should.
Yeah, I mean, you've been just like going. And I don't know if it's because I've just like paid more attention because of the conversation we had.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what always just sits in my head. That, are you ready to run? Are you ready to go? Like, because you've been going.
That's funny that you bring that up.
And
too.
yeah, because it's so wild. Because again, it's like you've always been a touring act and you've done this for a good amount of time.
Yeah.
But doing it at a level where I feel like it's you're touring and you're still building, but you're also able to maintain this outside life. And then it's like every Wednesday to Sunday, you are committed to playing 4 shows, to traveling to a new place every single day.
Yeah.
And I think I saw your tweet the other day where you like ordered Uber Eats to the wrong location.
I was so sad.
and that just like happens. And your mind is just everywhere. In addition to making sure you're posting on social media, to making sure you're still working on music. I guess you said you were working on music in the airport. Do you feel like you can work on music well when you're not at home in the studio?
Typically I would much prefer to like be home and get into a flow and like do that, but I'm like forcing myself to break the habits or the mental, like I need to be in this state of mind to do this. So I'm like, I'm learning and I'm growing and I'm kind of checking myself on things like that because you just have to adjust, you know?
You just have to adjust.
Yeah.
It's so true. And I feel like you sometimes are just forced to as you're going through it. You're like, okay, I've done this for 4 weeks in a row and I haven't really opened Ableton and I need to open Ableton. Actually, like,
you need to
get into this. And then on your new EP, I know Woofer was a collab, right?
Woofer was not a collab.
Not a collab.
It was, but there's a vocalist on.
A vocal. Okay, so maybe that was it was a feature on the track. And then did you have any collabs on this new EP? Or just all you?
Bliss was a collab with this Canadian artist Shiloh.
Oh, fun.
And then Wide Awake was me with a feature. And then what was the 4th song? Free Yourself.
Love it. Oh yeah.
I'm like brain is Free Yourself was with this guy Sofa Sound. Do you know him? He's from Florida.
I've seen his name actually a lot over like the years. I don't know. I've never seen him play or anything, but
he's really great.
Familiar with him.
Yeah. So 2 of them were collabs and 2 of them were originals, and that's also part of what's keeping me on track too. Making music on the road is like I'm starting a bunch of collabs with people and sending ideas so that like somebody is like on me and like making me accountable. Like still waiting.
Yeah.
Been waiting for you to send this back to me for months.
Yeah.
You know.
I love that.
So like that's a good way to like force myself to stay on track with like creating.
Hold yourself like accountable. You have somebody else who's like, hey, where's that?
Somebody's waiting on you.
Definitely. And it makes it in your mind. It makes it a priority for you. Collab culture is so interesting. And I think some collabs are never meant to work out. And then I think other collabs just take time. And then maybe you have the opportunity to actually be in the studio, like human to human, sitting next to each other. And it gets done like that. And it's always so different. And I know a lot of your stuff is solo stuff, but you also collaborated quite a bit.
Yeah.
And you know, you've worked with bands and you played with bands and kind of the conversations we've had before. You just did Disco Later.
I did, yeah.
How was that?
It was really cool.
Biscuits Andrew is on the 1111 roster. So because I told him that we were doing a podcast at the Big G show, and he was like, Maddie's playing Bisco Land. Make sure she talks about Bisco Land. And I was like, okay. I feel like those guys, like the jam band community, is always just so friendly. They're so nice.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's cool. I think we talked about this a little bit last time I saw you, but like, I feel like I'm in a cool crossover space where like my lane works in a lot of different, like I can hang in the bass world, but I can also hang in the jam world and play crossover festivals that are more like poppy acts like that. Which is really cool. Yeah. And it's very freeing. And I'm glad that I ended up there, not necessarily on purpose, but I think a lot of my influences navigated me or just subconsciously, you know, I was like, I like all of these things and I want to do them all together. But yeah, so I did Bisco Land, which is at a new location, Wonderland Forest.
It looks beautiful.
It was really beautiful.
It looks
Yeah.
super pretty.
So I actually did, for the first time, I did 2 tweener sets. So it was like two 30-minute sets.
Oh.
I think that's a jam band term.
2
Tweeners. Like you're
tweeners.
playing in between 2 bands.
That's wild. Okay, so like when they're doing the changeover.
Yeah.
And they're setting up, backline, all that shit.
Yeah.
So okay, so then you're like that like messenger in the middle
Yeah.
of deal to get it from one to the next.
Yeah. But it was on a different stage, but it was walkable.
That's cool.
You know, so people just filtered in. I played 30 minutes. They went back to see Lotus and then came back to see me and then Floozies played after that. So it's cool. I thought it was gonna be weirder than I expected. Like 30 minutes, like I'm just getting started.
Go there and play 6 songs.
Yeah, but it was like it was actually really cool. I was like, I'll be back, like just a tease.
That's wild.
Yeah.
How did you I guess formulate those sets? Was it all Maddy O'Neal sets, or were you like, okay, I'm gonna do one kind of vibe?
It was like
vibe?
it was like I was doing an Ableton Maddy set for sure. I just kind of like essentially in my brain, I just like chopped a set in half.
Yeah.
And I was like
part 1, part 2.
Yeah. The second half was like a little bit heavier because I was like ramping up.
Oh, that's dope.
So
that's cool.
It was fun. I thought it, like I said, I thought it was gonna be weirder than it actually was.
I feel like if you had like the wrong crowd or like the wrong expectation, it'd be like, whoa, what's going on?
Yeah.
But
the Biscuits fans are like
super
accepting. Camp Bisco and the whole, it was always a mix of electronic and jam bands. So like those kids,
they're norm to it.
Yeah. They were like ready for it.
I had Jason Leach on the podcast before he played Red Rocks, and he's doing, perfect kind of dual example. Did the show with Big G, has done some like Subtronics shows and shit.
Yeah.
And now he's going on to our Sun Squat Meet, that crossover. And it's very cool because I feel like he's like the newer generation of like artists who are coming up who can have that crossover. He's just like, I'm a musician at heart. And learning how to produce so hard. I'm like, I totally get it. But like what you're doing is working. Like what you're doing, people are like,
and he's such like a performance based
he's like
musician,
a conductor.
Yeah.
He gets up there, he's got the suit on.
Yeah.
He's like ready to conduct on all these different synths and it's a very cool thing. And I just think now more than ever, fans are being more, again, Denver's blessed, but fans are being more receptive across the board to different subgenres and different kind of niches of EDM, because it's here and they're ready for it. And, even an example with Basslines this year, they even got more diverse,
Yeah.
And I think that diversity and like the want for it from your average bass music fan or your average house fan is very much so present. It allows like all of these artists to step into this very cool space where they can do what they love to do. And you're someone who's always stayed very true to their sound. And you're like, this is Maddy O'Neal and I'm not going to really change for anybody else. But if I want to go a little bit left in this Venn diagram, I can.
Yeah.
A little right, I can. And
I tried to give myself space to grow, but like also find my own lane.
Yes. And it takes time.
I just want to be like, someone hears a song, I want them to know that it's me.
Absolutely. And I think that's the goal for everybody.
Yeah.
I think it's easy for a pop artist or a band.
Right.
You've got, I know it's Linkin Park. I know it's Paramore. I know it's the Gorillaz, but that's not always as easy as a producer.
Right. Especially when you're using different vocalists and, And
it's, I guess, in the Maddy O'Neal sound, what have you kind of developed to be, in your opinion, your like staples of your niche over like the last decade?
Oh, that's a tough question.
She's like, got you. I'm tired, Maddy, I got you. So.
Well, I think a lot of finding your sound is definitely happens subconsciously. You're just like drawn to certain vibes and like your personality kind of shines through and whatever you're using.
Yes.
Definitely gravitate towards similar synth tones and, you know, just tones in general and what I'm using, different instruments. And I love like having an organic element mixed with the bass. I think that's like one of the main things is like I've, you know, like I want like instruments, or I want it to have that humanized feel, whether that's like working with a vocalist or a guitarist, or, you know, having the piano or something that like feels human within like the robot collage.
Yeah. Right.
You know? So I think that's one of the big things I think for sure has helped me define my sound is making sure that there's that balance.
The duality.
The duality, like hard and pretty.
Yes, which I love. And I mean, you obviously can hear it. And it's kind of one of those things where when you're in Ableton, it's like really easy. I always say like 4 on floor, because like, and I know that's kind of like a house term kind of deal, but it's really easy to be very like metallic and robotic and non-human like. And I think whenever I'm like talking to somebody about percussion or talking to somebody just about the way that you arrange certain elements, if you were a real drummer, you're not always going to hit the ride cymbal with the same power and velocity each time.
Right.
And when we're in Ableton, it's really easy to go, okay, you have your 4 measure, 8 measure groove, duplicate, and you know, there's obviously tips and tricks, whether it's the house delay or you do a little bit just nudge to
or just change the velocities
to the right, or you change the velocities and you do everything in MIDI. Like there's definitely ways around it, but I think especially from like beginner to intermediate point of view, it's very easy to go, okay, well, it's gridded, we're good, like let's go, let's move on. But that's not always going to give you that like real take of like what an actual instrument is going to sound like. It's not going to be perfect every single night.
Right. And I think that evokes a certain type of emotion too, because it's like this extra like vulnerability comes with those sounds. To me, like the feeling attached to using organic elements feels more emotional and vulnerable versus some of the other elements that I'll contrast it with.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I think people can, you know, it's all about that like dynamic range. They can follow that so much like they would follow a band or a singer-songwriter or something where, you know, again, I think a lot of just EDM acts as we're just like programmed. We make stuff for a live space and not always for a listenable space.
Yeah.
And there's definitely artists who do that duality very, very well, but it definitely takes like the right intentions. Like, what am I writing for? What am I feeling? Because I feel like it's very easy to get, wow, I just made this like awesome record, but there's no way in hell I could ever play it live. Like I have to make some sort of live edit, or I have to do some sort of
I think people are like afraid of that, and it sucks.
Yeah, because they're like, that I'm making a song for nothing.
It's a waste of my time.
Yeah, so many artists are making music just to like sustain them while they're touring every single weekend. It's like you're on this massive tour. Okay, we've got a single drop this month. We got a single drop next month. We got a single drop in the following month. But a lot of the times those singles don't like really like, it's the retention of the single is like, okay, is this going to be put on every single Spotify playlist possible, and then like no one's going to know what it is in 2 weeks? Or is it going to be something that somebody saves in playlists, and when they're feeling this way or they're driving or they're whatever, they're going to put it on?
They're going to have like a nostalgic connection to it. And that's like what making timeless music to me is about. Is like,
I don't feel like there is timeless music. There is timeless music being made. I just think there's so much music being made that it's harder to dictate something as timeless or just another banger kind of deal.
And that's what I loved about like when I got into music and like sampling records and being inspired by listening to old music that literally is completely timeless. Like that was a huge part of me when I first started making music, and what like drove me So I'm trying to like maintain a little bit of that because, you know,
it's so easy to not do that. It's so easy to say, you know, and I was just talking to Vale, you know, use Chat GPT to create something.
Yeah, right.
Or like,
and then technology comes along and it's like, oh shit.
Yeah, throws everything, you know, out the window. And then it, you know, it takes time. And I think you do have like a great fan base that appreciates that.
Yeah.
But you always like, you can't choose your fan base kind of deal. And whoever ends up attracting to your vibe, like is who is attracted to your vibe. And you as an artist, unfortunately don't have too much control over that. Like what you're putting out is just going to attract certain people. And I think with the whole resampling and vinyl aspect of creating music, it's just something that you have to be super passionate about to do it over and over again.
I mean, Daily Bread is a great example of someone that's so tried and true to that method and that like attachment to the timeless, nostalgic sampling vinyl era, and he's doing an amazing job at it. But he's, you know, he's balancing it with
it's the digital age versus
and making songs that are, you know, hitting live. So it's like there's definitely a sector of people that's important to them. And
he's on
I think it's
Closen's tour right now, right? That's a great
yeah, it was real good.
Yes.
But it's also hard to keep up with the technological advances. And you know, like I'm always like screenshotting if someone's like, this is the best new plugin. I'm like, I'm gonna buy that tomorrow.
I bookmark and I save, and then I bookmark and save a million different things. And I have to go through and find all of it. I guess when you're, I don't know if I asked this last time, but I guess when you're sampling vinyl, how do you,
I don't do that much anymore.
How do you do it though? Like, do you have like a record player that's like got a digital adapter, I guess, that can go into Ableton or resample?
There's a bunch of different record players you can get. There's even ones that go into your computer USB.
Okay.
So I would just like record. I would dig physically and just record segments of a record into Ableton and then like create folders to use later.
Okay.
So I would just be like, that's a gem. That's a gem.
Just like you were doing sound design.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. So I'm like creating little nuggets to use later. But like I'm basically like building up a library
it's so
in an analog way.
Like kind of being like the selector.
Yeah, like crate digging.
Yeah, you're crate digging and then you're pulling what you want and you're saving it for later. And
and then I put all those samples into like mixed in key and figure out which ones work together and
love a good mixed in key. I use mixed in key all the time.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like I'll record a vocal or I'll do something and I'm like very unaware of what key it's in, and I'm just like, well, time for mixed in key.
It's a great tool.
And I can't. I gave up on the Ableton tuner a long time.
Oh it's the worst. Or like the slice melody. I'm just like, really, dude.
The adapt. I have a student of mine who's using the, you know, because we're kind of in that reference track phase, and she also sings, and she's like, well, I want to know like what notes I'm singing, and I want to like take that and then choose what key I'm gonna be in and do this. She's like, but when I like do the like convert to MIDI, it just like
it's
really
trash.
doesn't look good. And I'm like, okay, so we use this as a basis. You have to connect the dots. You have to,
then you got to move them around and basically do its job for it.
Yeah, and basically do the job for you. I'm like, maybe it'll give you one root note and maybe you just go off that. Yeah, totally. There's definitely things in there, but you know, it's still like Ableton just has so many cool things. I will always think Ableton's superior.
Oh, for sure.
But I understand different DAWs are for
it's only because people didn't start with it.
Yeah, and that's where I think I am, and I never gave FL Studio really the time of day because it was just like, to me, I was kind of like hip hop. Like I always like heard hip hop, and like, these were what the beat makers were making, and it's like, yeah, you're a beat maker, but I also wanted to do other shit.
Right.
And then Reason was just like, at that point, just own your own studio with your own shit. Do everything from scratch. Don't do anything digitally. And Ableton was like a mix of all of these different, like, you know, digital analog workstations that kind of work together. And
it works in a live setting.
Yes.
So only soft, you know, it's the only DAW that
know,
will
is there
allow you to
anything
play less.
else? I guess Jason told me he uses
Not in a
this. There's programs out there that I think act as like mixing boards, but it's not like a MIDI
Right.
mapping.
It's not. There's no
set.
like launch
No.
area in any other DAW.
No.
So that's like
Has traveling with your gear been kind of wild or like not really? I feel like you haven't.
not really. I
consolidated.
just like have a Pelican with both of my MIDI controllers. Traveling with a backup laptop now, just in case.
Oh, wow, that's a whole thing I didn't think about.
Yeah,
Ooh.
just in case something happens. But I also have like sets backed up on Drive.
Oh my god, that's so stressful.
In case anything happens, I also have a USB in case something happens to my laptop, and I can just hop on CDJs.
See, okay.
So there's like a multiple backup plans. Because I actually talked to Grant at Ursa Major about like. Because he used to play in Ableton too.
Really?
And then he had like a computer meltdown. I think he was at Bonnaroo, he said. And like he had to just like play it off because it was so hot. He was like, I had my computer on ice and the singer that I was with, we just like
as the ice
did a
is
little
melting in your computer.
We just we just did like a riff. Like he played his sax and she sang and like waited to see if his computer was gonna turn back on. So he like
that's terrifying.
He was saying like a series of events that led him to actually playing on CDJs. And he said he does miss it too. There's advantages to both.
Yeah.
And you know, if you get to a certain level, you can have a switcher, which is both of your laptops are running the same thing at the same time.
Okay.
And then if something happens or something stops on one, it just automatically switches to the other. Oh, like Big G does that.
Like 1, 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
So like,
but you also have to have a lot of stuff built up over time.
Yeah. That's a certain level of like.
Yes. Yeah. Definitely. Not everybody can just go. Here's my 2 massive big boy laptops. So we're just gonna connect them just in case something happens. Yeah. There's definitely. I mean, there's balances to everything. There's give or takes to everything. Does Grant? I guess with his sax, is there like a wireless connector or just plug his sax in? Like,
no, he has like a little.
He has pack.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
And then
I always thought about that because guitars you plug in, your stuff you plug in, and like brass instruments and like stuff like that. You really
they just have wireless packs to kind of house.
See, that's not bad. That's not
bad at all. But I am learning or loving playing on CDJs too, like a lot because it's a newer thing.
Right?
It's like a newer thing in the last like
fun.
3 or 4 years.
You kind of do. I feel like there are a lot of similarities between the CD. You'll have a Nexus mixer or you'll have whatever DJM 5000 mixer in the middle, and especially with the CDJ 3000s. There's a lot of fun features that if you really take the time to learn about, you can do a lot of stuff that's really replicated within Ableton, whether it's the delay or the reverb or phaser or whatever.
But it feels more like on the fly to me.
Yes. Yeah. Like I'm never in my head like, oh, like you're going to delay this out. You're going to reverb. You're going to loop here. You just go, or you're going to scratch here. Like you just go, okay, they're feeling it. Like, okay, I'm going to keep running this acapella.
Right.
Ta-da.
So it feels like riskier and more fun.
Yeah.
Because I bought the 3000s over the pandemic.
Oh, fun.
And that's when I was like, okay. Because I was doing so many live streams that I was like, if I keep playing all my own music, it's going to get bored. So
week 12, Maddy plays her last album again.
Here's my catalog.
Here's my discography, and here we go. There's really nothing else.
And I don't know who's all here. That was here last week.
Yeah. Oh, that's hilarious.
So it's been. It's like I said. I know.
It's crazy, but it wasn't that long ago. It feels long ago.
Yeah.
It feels like this like time and space that was just so weird.
Yeah.
But there's still like touring industry has not fully recovered, like oh my god, did you see the thing about Live Nation doing the stipend and doing no merch cuts?
Oh, wait, what's the stipend?
So like 2 weeks ago they announced that obviously all of their venues until January, which is like a piss poor thing. It's kind of like knowing the background.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Only until January?
Yes, only until January.
Is that like the fine print at the bottom?
That is the fine print at the bottom in 0.202
Oh
font.
my god.
And just being real, like, for people who don't know, Live Nation and Ticketmaster are owned by the same fucking people. They're also all owned by the Saudis.
Yeah.
It's this very deep hole that is not great to go into. But they came out and they said, okay, merch cuts. I think that's awesome. Like, I do think it's cool. Like,
they said only until January?
Only until January. But
I
any
totally
Live
missed
Nation
that part.
venue, totally until January. No merch cuts. Like, hopefully they'll extend it. I would assume they'll extend it. I don't know. But all of their venues, Live Nation venues, which a lot of them are stadiums, they're really not going to our genre. It's going to the pop stars of the world and the hip hop guys of the world. But there are still quite a few
it's pretty
Live
huge
Nation
though.
venues. Yeah, like
it's pretty huge.
Denver is very AG, but mostly everywhere else is very Live Nation. And
because people, I mean, to a certain extent, there's touring acts that make more on merch than they do
merch is
guarantees.
Yeah,
you know?
merch is like one of. If you were to ask me, like in like trivia, if I was like on like CBS Jeopardy, how do artists make their money? Like the first thing I would say is merchandise.
Yeah,
because
if you do it right,
and you have, and I think it takes a very long time for an artist to get to a point where they're doing merch drops every single month. And I think Grizz is the king of that shit,
dude, that's like a whole other business.
But also not having a contract with a merch company that's taking 75% of that, which a lot of DJs unfortunately have. They'll put out that merch every month, but they're not seeing the majority of that money. You want to work with somebody local, small. Hey, this is what we're doing. You're going to be my primary manufacturer, even if you get shit from overseas. And we're doing this every single month. And you can make great money. And you make great money from it. But, there's a argument from just that thing that Live Nation came out with, where that is a lot of the ways that independent venues kind of do make some of their money, in addition to ticket sales, in addition to bar sales, Cervantes came out very shortly after that.
That's how I found out about the whole thing. And
yeah,
like,
and they did that, and I was like, that's really fucking dope, because it takes like a lot of balls for an independent venue to come through and go, okay, we're gonna honor this. I think it's just something that I get.
Just setting an example.
5%, 10%, but like, man, especially with the acts that are in venues such as Cervantes, they're not making a lot of money. You're not seeing 100K, 50K for an act, and that's why I'm like,
especially if you're traveling.
Especially if you're traveling. I mean, you're
getting,
if
you have multiple people in a band.
Yes, who are coming in and playing for 5K, and then they're splitting it between 4. And the merch is a lot of the ways that they make their money. But then 48 hours later, they came out with a stipend up to $1,500 for your travel, hotel, gas, and food, like a per diem.
Wait, what?
Yes, if you are playing one of their Live Nation venues. So like
they're like, come back to us, please.
Yep, their show.
What?
Like my show with Nightmare is at Big Night Live, which is a Live Nation venue that just happens to be 2 days after Thanksgiving, and like round trip tickets are like $1,100. Like, there's no way I'm gonna get out of paying that. Like, there's just no way. And I'm like, wow, well, I got like an awesome fee offered, and now like half of that's going to my fucking travel.
Wait, so do you get a stipend for that?
So yes. So it would be, but you have to, there's some dictation of paperwork, and then they reimburse you. So
it has to be like,
but you
confirmed.
have to like submit it, they confirm it, and then they wire a payout to you.
Wow.
Yes. Which is a fucking game changer.
That's like huge.
But most venues cannot fucking do that shit. There's no way you can't. Like, God, some people.
Well, that just tells you
what their intentions are behind it.
But also how much money they're actually making.
Oh, 100%.
Because if they can afford,
like,
that's some people's guarantees.
Well, and it's just really interesting too, because I don't know if you watch golf. I don't know.
I don't.
I don't watch golf, but they came in because PGA is like our golf league.
Yeah.
They came in with the Saudis created a different league for golf that I can't remember the name of. Do you know? The Live Tour, yeah. See,
I don't even know what this is.
Yeah, so they created this thing called the Live Tour, and they were signing pro golfers for, football contracts, like $10, $20 million, $25 million.
For this other sector.
For this other sector, but you couldn't compete. You chose PGA, the American League, or you chose the Saudi League. And you either, golfers, don't get me wrong, they still make a shit ton of money. It's kind of like a football player complaining that they're making $5 million a month or a year.
Yeah.
And
a month.
For a contract. Yeah, a month, right? And it created just this huge controversy. But I just feel like it's like now they're coming to music and they're like, hey guys, are you going to come back and play a Live Nation venue? And because it's different for us when it's like you're just maybe traveling with a TM or you're doing this, but they're doing this for potentially crew members. They're doing this for like, so it'd be like $1,500 for like, imagine if you had a band of 5 and then a crew of maybe 20 or 30. But we're going to give $1,500 to every single one of you guys to, you know, aid you with your travel here. And then that all builds up. Dude.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is wild. I definitely missed that part. Maybe they weren't trying to advertise that one too much.
I would look on your routing, and if you have any Live Nation events,
it's good to know.
It's some form of paperwork, and they gave more information and details, but it's some sort of portal that you would set up, an artist portal, and you get a payout. What? Yeah, fucking crazy.
That's awesome. I saw like there's this band called Lawrence.
Okay.
That like literally went to like the Supreme Court or something and like lobbied against merch percentages.
No way.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Like there was like
I've never agreed with it because I just think it's fucking crazy that you're going to tell me that I have to pay for my own cellar and then I have to give you guys a cut of like,
and then tips too.
Yeah. And then tips. And then like at the end of the day too, like obviously if you're ordering 1,000 merch items versus 100, your cost per item is going to be vastly different.
Yeah.
But for people in like our sector, like you're not really ordering 20K items or 20, you know.
And if you're making money off of it, then you should split the price of the seller with us too, because without that person,
when my manager were making Red Rock shirts and we're doing a little kind of like private pop up for like fans who know me personally or in my Discord.
I love
Facebook
doing that
group.
kind of stuff.
Yes, can come. Get a shirt, and then we'll have the extra shirts at Red Rocks, and then we'll put them online if they don't all sell out.
Right.
I was like, I'm not fucking sharing that motherfucking cut with Red Rocks. No, absolutely not. I was like, I'm so excited, but I know like the headliner is gonna have 40 pieces of merch, and I'm gonna have one in the corner.
Yeah, totally.
And I'm not putting all of my like eggs in one basket.
My t-shirts over there.
It's over there in the corner. Buy it, please, if you made it in on time. Like, love it. That for you. But yeah, it's one of those things. I'll be very intrigued to see if a larger company like an AEG or something comes out and says, but you know, it definitely got a lot of buzz. You know, the billboards of the world were all over it, and then kind of
I don't know how I missed that.
But it's definitely legit. It's definitely legit.
Yeah.
At first, I was like, this is a joke. I was like, and then I got the merch kind of deal, and then I saw the stipend, and I was like, they're just trying to like put you in the coffin and like dig the nail in and like lock you in there forever. Yeah.
It's kind of creepy.
As they sign like multi-year deals with, you know, the Taylor Swifts of the world, and then that all goes away, and you're still stuck in this contract with Live Nation. It's wild. Yeah, there's so many things with the touring industry that is always so wild.
Yeah.
Are you still traveling alone, TM?
Friends?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I was actually. Can I go pee real fast?
Okay. Yeah.
I'm like,
absolutely. Oh my god. Yeah. Go. Okay. Love it.
So regarding the lift tour, so they did all that. What you just said, they did all of that. They made it split. Like the PJ was like, remember 9/11, yada yada yada.
Yep.
And then a few months later, they made a deal where they combined them. And the lift tour basically bought in, and all the PGA players that left got paid millions, and all the PGA tour players that stayed, same contract, lost out on millions. So it'll be interesting. I didn't even know it.
Because didn't they combine now and they're working together now? Yeah. Which is like honestly like a good, if it had to end some way, like I'm glad they're working together. But no, the Saudis are fucking evil motherfuckers.
They're gonna try to do that with I'm hearing, well, you listen to Joe all the time, so they were talking about how they want to do it to the NBA and everything.
I know, I saw that because who was on? Ice Cube or somebody was on. Somebody was on who had that lead.
Yeah,
right?
Ice Cube runs the 3-on-3.
Okay, that's what it is. But yeah, I heard, I did hear that on one of the podcasts, and dude, they're infiltrating from all these different little directions in our industries. Wild.
Yeah, I wonder what the pros and cons would be. Because like people get paid more money, but they're just kind of all in the website.
That's so wild. Oh no, you're good.
And
that's why I do this. Okay. Cool. So, tell me about things you're excited for? You have Ogden, which is your biggest headline to date.
Yeah.
Right? Who's on the undercard for that? I know you have things in your mind, so you
It
don't
was people that are on the bill.
Chimera, yeah.
Chimera.
Chimera, okay.
And then Jenga.
Yes.
And
That's such a good, like, Denver, like,
yeah.
you know?
Yeah. I was really pumped about it.
That's so exciting.
Yeah, that's December 1st. And
that's like the end of the Mind Over Matter tour.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
like
So that'll be like kind of like the grand finale. Well, no, I
I
have some.
come.
Yeah.
I'll
If you're
come.
here,
I'm gonna
definitely.
come.
I have some Texas. Actually, yeah, I have some Texas dates at the end of December.
Okay.
And then I'm
like going into New Year's, kind of.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's a couple dates afterwards, but it's gonna feel like
you at least have
that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just had a production meeting about that yesterday and kind of putting all of the pieces together.
I feel like Ogden's like one of those places that really is a music venue. It really is similar to Cervantes, just kind of like supersized kind of deal.
Yeah.
Where you could bring in some dope production.
Yeah.
You could do some
I'm excited.
cool,
I'm gonna start
stuff.
drawing up some ideas like tomorrow.
Isn't it cool when you get to be like your own director?
Yeah.
You get to like bring like your own little vision to life.
Yeah.
That's like just like a very cool, you know, and Denver's like your place.
Yeah.
So
it's definitely a milestone. Like I've done a couple of different co-headlines and my own headline at Cervantes, and that was always like home.
Yep.
But it feels like I graduated, and I'm like,
it's like your senior year.
Yeah. I'm like,
well,
okay,
after Ogden,
moving on up.
I've been here long enough to understand the progression, the story tale of building as an artist here, where it's like Larmier, Serves or Bluebird.
Yeah.
Then or maybe Meow Wolf. Then you go to Ogden, and then it's like Mission.
You said Serves or Bluebird.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Is that kind of comparable? I guess.
Yeah.
Like in size, because you have like
For
real
sure.
small, and then you have like the 500 to 700 to 1,000 cap.
Yeah.
And then Ogden's what?
I think it's
1?
I think it's 22.
22. Okay.
Or maybe it's 25.
There's Ogden, Mission, Red Rocks.
Yeah.
They're like on the other half. Of
Yeah.
it. They're like in like
There's some big leaps in there
grads.
too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's definitely some big leaps, but Maddy O'Neal Mission said go.
Yeah.
Off.
I'm very excited to curate that night.
Yeah. Yeah. It'll be like a family affair, you know, like you'll have all your people there, and it'll just be like, I feel like those shows are the most fun when you can share it with people who have just been with you since you were like in your bedroom.
Yeah. Because everyone, you know, they've seen the progression and know what it took to get to that place in time. So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's like a crazy undercard too, which will be so much fun. Oh my God. Such a good time.
Yeah.
And then I know you're always putting out music, so it's hard for me to be like working on music.
I'm glad that it feels like that.
Yeah. I definitely feel like you put out a lot of music really consistently. And it's always
Thanks.
got like a different feel to it. But then again, it's got those consistent elements where you're like, okay, this is Maddy, da da da. Is there any kind of like collabs or maybe songs that you've started working on that you're just like really excited for?
I actually have a bunch of collabs in the works. I was kind of focusing on that and like making some fun remix edit type of things just to like drop on SoundCloud.
Yeah.
So I'll probably, I have a remix that someone else did for me coming out in November.
Exciting.
To Afterglow.
Okay.
He just kind of like asked if he could remix it, and then it became like a staple in my sets all summer.
Isn't that lovely how that works out?
Yeah, I was like,
wow,
sure.
Okay, this is great.
Yeah. So it's actually by an artist named What's That Music.
I'll have to check them out.
Yeah, up and coming bass artist.
Cool.
So it's cool. That'll be fun to put that out because people have heard that rendition all summer.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, I have some really fun collabs in the works with Kofresi and Ashes, working on a song with Prop Cause.
Oh, cool.
Just a couple of other people that I can't remember.
Yeah, that's
right
I'm
now.
sure there's probably some
I'm
really
like
can't
about
say or can't talk about.
Yeah, I'm about to like there is a really cool conversation that I just had that I need to start.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of gears turning and conversations that I've had that I'm excited to jump into.
That's so exciting.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, I give you my goodwill to stay strong.
Yeah.
And continue.
We need to do a
carrying on.
collab too.
I know, and I'm working on a collab right now with Lime and with Levity, and then I'm in collab season because
Love it.
I just finished like my next round of singles. I have a single coming out on the 9th, a remix coming out beginning of December, and then a single coming out in January, and then my Holy Peak comes out, so that's like springish.
Sick.
And now I'm just focusing on collabs. I want to collab, and I want to get in studio with people, and like you living here is really good. It's hard. Because my dog's just like batshit crazy. She's so loving. Like she's really amazing. But like, man, I don't think that she's like ready for like just like
for the collab environment.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing next to mom?
I think she'll calm down. It's like the first time she meets somebody so up their ass and like toy, rope, toy. Yeah. But the third or fourth time.
Is it like an Australian Shepherd?
So she's got Shepherd, she's got Husky, she's got Border Collie.
Nice.
She's like, Mom,
she wants like a job.
Let me free. Yeah. Oh my God. No, my boyfriend and I have joked for like literally every month since we've gotten out here that we need to send her to sled school. Like she's just like,
put me to work.
Yeah.
I want to
like,
do shit.
Anytime we're on hikes, like doesn't matter how many people we're with, she's got to be front of the pack. She scopes everything out. But yeah, I've had a few people over, and like I think I tried to do one podcast at my house or at my apartment in Superior before I moved to Rhino. It was just the biggest disaster ever. Yeah. I ended up having to put her in my bedroom, and just all you hear is her like ramming herself against the door. And
especially if you're trying to record vocals.
Yeah. And it's like I think she would eventually calm down, and maybe when she's a little bit older, but. Yeah, it's hard to do that to me. Like a studio space.
You could come to my space.
Yeah. Or like I'll come to your space.
Yeah.
She'll be that doggy one day. She's just like, Mom, I'm a kid. I'm gonna do kid shit.
I'm gonna do kid shit.
Yeah, I'm gonna do kid shit.
Yeah, you can come to my house.
Yeah. So I would love to do that. Yeah. That'd be super fun. And I'm also looking to get back in like I'm in my drum and bass bootleg era. So I've had so much fun doing bootlegs of just like Mary J. Blige songs and just all this fun stuff for like my drum and bass kind of section of my set, and just shit that like I don't want other people to be playing, that I just want like unique to my set. And and so like I'm really in the whole remix phase and stuff too. I may have to take a little stab. I love that song.
Oh my God, I would love that.
I literally like when I was listening to it, I was just like, holy fucking shit. I think I listened on my phone first because you had posted like a clip of it or a preview or something like a teaser. Yeah. And I was just like,
you're like, wait a second, I need to hear this on real speakers.
Exact bass music that I like fuck with. That I'm just like that big sounding, simple, but huge and massive sounding. Yeah. When you just like can master simplicity, which I think is harder than mastering being complex in the DAW.
Oh, for sure.
You can just be so strong.
Strong. I feel like making that song definitely opened up something fun in my brain. And I'm like, so okay, we're going to keep writing that.
The rave kitties love that. Yeah. Like when you drop that, it's just like everybody says like, yeah.
Some people thought it was like a woofer, like a dog.
Yeah.
Like woof.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, subwoofer.
Like subwoofer. Oh my God. That's so funny.
But you can interpret it however you want.
However you want. That's the beauty.
It's all for you.
Maybe it was like what's your dog's name?
It's Benson.
Maybe it's like Benson's bark put through like a million Camel Crushers.
Yeah, totally.
Like OTT and then like resampled, and then maybe it sounds like that.
Yeah.
No, it's a very, very cool track. But I'm excited. Congratulations on all the success. Keep it moving. And then in December, maybe we'll have a snowboard day.
Yeah, we should totally do that.
I'm making my car survive one more winter.
Nice.
It's got one more winter.
I have faith.
Denver drivers are savage.
Dude.
I came up here with a great car. Now it's not so great.
I've been hearing that from so many people that they're just like keep getting rear-ended or like
no, like I don't want to post the video. I'm gonna show it to you after the podcast because I think that people would like know where I live in Rhino.
Oh yeah.
I had a lovely individual decide to hop on my car and then lift himself onto my balcony and take my bike. And then he threw my bike on the windshield of my car and dented my hood in multiple spots. And then
took the bike.
And then took the bike. I think he picked my bumper for good measure. And then he left his old bike and took my bike.
He's like,
I would
upgrade.
maybe even been mad if he took the bike. I was like, man, it's a fixed gear
What
from when I was
the
16.
fuck,
Enjoy it. You probably know it
dude?
more than me. So that was kind of like damage control. And then someone from Feds was messed up and like rear-ended me as I was pulling into like my carport. And then I got out and they almost hit me and they did like hit and run at like 2 a.m. in the morning. And so then that happened and I was like, oh man. And then like, it's just like a 2014 Jetta and it's just going to take way more money than what it's worth to fix everything.
Yeah.
So now I'm just like, I fit in. I have a
Yeah,
Colorado
totally.
car. It's great.
That's
Yeah.
what I don't like. I live in Arvada now.
Yeah.
And I'm
You're
yeah.
close enough to Denver where you're
Yeah,
on the highway.
like it
all
took
the time.
me
15, 20.
20, 25 to get
Yeah.
in this traffic.
Yeah.
Normally it would take me like 15 minutes to get downtown.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
it's-
I don't miss all of that nonsense.
No.
I need to come home off of the
You
tour
just have these wild dives.
and have some peace of mind.
Yeah. These wild like cars that are just, you know, I get it. I understand. Maybe if I owned a monster truck, I would think I'd been some too. But they just go and they go so fast. And you're just like, get out of the way. Get out of the way. But I would never leave Denver for anything.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah,
I
thanks
really
for-
appreciate it.
I'm glad that you had me back for a second
Oh, I
time.
am too. Because I felt so bad the day. Because again, I booked you and like 3 other individuals. to
Yeah,
do
you were like
podcasts that
doing
day.
back to back to back.
And it was like the first time I was playing Mission Ballroom, and I was just like in my head the whole time. I'm like, the booking had just come up very quickly, and I was just like, okay, like is everything ready? Like I think my sound check was like 45 minutes after we got done, and I had to cut it short. And
I
was
was like, I was impressed when we first did our first one. I was just like, damn, this girl is hustling. She's doing 4 podcasts in a day, then going to play Mission Ballroom.
I felt
I'm
so
like,
bad. I was
Jesus.
just like, because you were somebody who like I wanted to have on for a while, and I knew we could have like a great conversation. And then I'm here like, motherfucker, my head is just over there.
Yeah, I mean,
out
that's
the
a big-
window.
You're
It's
yeah.
like the multitasking.
I didn't notice that you were distracted, but I would be
Appreciate
totally
Appreciate
I would be
it.
totally in
And
my
then
head
there
if
were
I
like
had a
so
big
many
show.
things I wanted to ask you, and I was like, we only have this amount of time. I have to keep asking her questions
Yeah.
instead of just like talking like a normal
Right.
podcast. But now I have my assistant who's fucking awesome, and he makes sure that breakers don't trip and computers don't die.
I
and
love it.
it's a huge difference and change. So yeah, I greatly appreciate it.
Yeah,
Do your
thanks for
thing.
having me.
And then in December we'll have an agenda of things to do.
Yes.
Snowboard,
Yes.
day drink, be super fun,
Yes.
make music.
Yes.
It'll be great. It'll be
I'm
great.
all about it.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening.
Thank
Bye.
you.
See ya.